Hi, this is Hans Eriksson with cgboomer.com, and I want to welcome you to day 12 of my work in progress for my logo and header, which is actually kind of turning into a going to be like a little short video. This will be day 8 of making my vintage record player, and right now we're applying the textures because the modeling is complete. There's a couple things I want to do before I really get started. One of them is I've got these lights now as Hemis, and you're not seeing a lot of the detail and shadows. So let's go ahead and change these to a sun, and that way we can get shadows showing, and you can see a lot more of the corners and details. I'm not going to change the hue and everything of the light because this I'm not really concerned too much with the lighting at the moment. Just want to be able to get my stuff textured and looking a little better. The other thing that I want to do is when the hinges were part of the top, we had to increase our the multi-resolution up to 2, and that's not really necessary at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that down some, and I'm going to delete the higher and save it, and that should reduce the size of the file. The files were getting pretty big. If I go to my work in progress here, you'll be able to see. Let's go to the vid files here, and you can see right now this is at 5.91, and so I dropped a whole almost a whole megabyte, or not quite a megabyte, but I dropped down quite a bit. And we're going to be going through and doing a little bit of that all the way through, reducing some of the multi-resolution on things that we don't need that high of multi-resolution on. Uh, it's just not really necessary to have it up that high. So I'm going to leave it at that for right now. In fact, I wonder if I just took it off all the way. That squared up the corners just a little bit more. Well, actually doesn't look too bad. Let me put it back on. I kind of like it with a multi-resolution up to at least one good level of subdivision. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at that. All right, the next thing we're going to do is working on the base, and so I'm going to move the base over to another layer so we can work on it by itself, and click that like that, and we're going to go ahead and get started. If I go into UV editing, um, you can see it's not really. Let's just try and unwrap them once. Let's go ahead and add everything there, and we'll just hit U, unwrap, and looks very, very bad. I don't really like the way that unwrapped at all. So let's try Smart Project and see what that does. And let's go ahead and add the wood texture to it. And tab into view here and see how everything kind of laid out. And you know, the sides laid out quite nicely. The trim at the bottom laid out pretty nicely. I kind of like that. The only real thing I don't like, the only thing I really don't like is the inside portion here. and I would really like the grain going this way. So let's tab back into view here. Um, Make sure that we're in face view, and I'm going to grab a few of these faces here. Just kind of see. I'll grab over here and grab L. Okay, let's over here and take a look. Let's grab all of this here, switch back into vertex mode. Let's grab all these vertices here on the top, L, and I'm going to rotate this one section here 90 degrees. So let's go rotate 90, and look in here and see how that did. And that looks like I selected all of that right there, and it looks pretty good. I'm kind of happy with that. So I'm going to leave it at that and call that good. I'm going to go ahead and going to duplicate this texture. I'm going to make it a single user copy. Let me see. Okay, it's a single user copy now. And let's go into edit view here, deselect everything, go back into face view, and let's grab all of I'm going to grab all of these interiors here. It'll take just a second. I'm kind of individually clicking these. And this is just taking just a second. Alright, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to assign all of that to that texture there. I'm then going to go over to the textures here and delete those textures out. And come back over to here, and I'm going to call this texture speakers, S-P-E-A-K-E-R, speakers. And let me look inside here. Now it appears as though I missed some areas here, so let's get back into it. I think one of the reasons I missed something is because I'm missing some loops. So let me go ahead and add a couple loops in here. Control R and move that up. Control R and add those loops in. And let me see now. That's looking a lot better. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for the sides on each one of these. Control R and Control R. Get a little edge control there. I'm going to have to do that on all of these. Control R. Control R. Appears that I might have overrun something here. One. I did overrun something. Let me step back a few times. Alright, Control R. And I want to move that down to right about there, I think. Alright, that's working now. Control R. G through X. Let me see, Control Z. I want to step that back. Control R. That looks pretty good for edge control. Control R. Well, Control R. There, that looks better. Control R is just going to take a few minutes. I guess I kind of forgot that during the modeling process. It's okay. Things can be cleaned up as we go. Almost done here, about halfway. Control R. That looks good. Control R. Keeping good edge control is important. It's easy enough to forget. Control R. Let's slide that over. Good. Control R. Add that loop. Slide it up. And set it in place. Control R. Grab that loop. Slide it into place. kind of move over here a little bit so I can see this side. Control R, slide it over and move it into place. Control R, slide that into place, and do the same thing right here. Unfortunately, seeing that I'm doing that, I'm also kind of messing up my other textures here, so I'm going to have to kind of redo this real quick. Really shouldn't take that long. So let me go back into this area here, and I'm going to select only the vertices for this, and I'm going to hit U, Smart Project, and then seeing that that top here is already highlighted, all I got to do is just hit R, rotate 90 degrees, and I should be good to go. Let's take a look. Yep. And this center here looks pretty good. I think I'm going to live with that just fine. My speakers look a lot better. Let me take a look and see. Yep. It's nice and rounded, and I am happy. So let's now go ahead and work on texturing these speakers. Okay, and the speakers are the kind of what I'm looking for is kind of a fabric, and again I'm going to cgtextures.com. I'm kind of trying to find some sort of burlap, heavy weave type stuff, and I believe what I found and I liked, let me see here, I believe it's this one is the one that I like the best. Yeah, this is the one that I used right here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the large version here and save. And I'm going to go ahead and save it to this file right here. Well, let's go to day 12. Let's go day 11. Here we go, day 12. Vid files, textures, and I'm going to save it right in there. And close that down. Alright, let's go into my files here. Go to Documents, My Documents, here we go. Work in progress. Go to day 12, vid files, textures, and I should find it. There we go. Plain fabric. Now that file is pretty large. I don't want it to be quite that large, so I am going to work on it just a little bit. But you can see it's kind of got that rough burlappy look, and that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to crop it on a 1:1 ratio, and I'm just going to grab a portion of it and crop it. And I can move it to wherever I want. Actually, that area looks pretty good. And I don't know why that didn't crop at a 1:1. Let's try this again. Let me go back to the base image. If I'm, fixed, I forgot to check that. and crop it on a 1:1, and that'll work. I'm then going to scale the image, and 1024 by 1024 will work just fine. And I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that color or not, but let's just go ahead and go with it for right now. I'm going to go save as fabric plane 17 color. I don't think I'm going to make a detail map for this, but I am going to make a normal map. So let's go ahead, let's desaturate it, and again I'm going to hit average values. I'm going to invert it and hit my map, normal map. That looks like it might, I'm just going to take it up to, let's say, 5. That's way too high. Let's just try 2. Okay. And that looks like plenty of mapping there. So let's go save as. Just change that to a NOR. Save. Save. And I think that's going to work out just fine. So let's just see how that applies real quick. Let's go into my material settings, go into the speakers, and I think the intensity I'm going to turn all the way down to nothing, because I don't think fabric should have any sort of shininess at all. Notice that didn't affect the wood, it only affected the material slot that I'm working in. Go over to here and hit new image or movie, UV, open, work in progress, day 12, bid files, textures, and I really wish I had it on thumbnails so I can see. And this is the one I want right here, and open it up. Let me go back over to here, speakers. I am going to deselect everything. I'm going to select from here just these. I'm going to hit U to unwrap. Let's hit 7. Let's hit 1. U, and let's go project from view. U, project from view, bounds. No, let's just unwrap it. See how that works. And I don't like the rotation on it real well. Let's see how some of this looks. Let's try U, project from view, bounds. Let's try that once. Tab in. That actually looks quite a bit better. And let's hit all over here. I'm going to kind of zoom in here and just kind of take a look here. And I think what I want to do is just kind of rotate this all just a little bit and kind of straighten it up just a little bit on the fabric. It's okay if it looks a little rough. Speakers sometimes do look a little rough, and let's size it just a little bit. Yeah, actually that doesn't look too bad at all. I'm going to leave it as is. So let me go back over here to, I'm going to call this speaker cloth, C-L-O, cloth color. And I'm going to go over here and add the next texture slot. Again, it is being to UV, open. That should be going right to that file. So I'm going to correct something here in just a minute. Plain fabric 17 Nor. Open that up. Make sure I'm hit on normal map and click on normal, and let's see how that affected that. Yeah, yep, that popped it out quite a bit. So I am going to call this SPEAK, speaker cloth Nor. And that seems to, okay, I'm kind of liking that. I may kind of change that color a little bit, but let's kind of see how everything works out first. Let's grab this, and I'm going to move it back into that original layer. Let's go to default, see how that all looks. Grab, there we go. Yeah, I think I will be changing that color on that just a little bit. I can adjust that color, but let me think about it first and see how exactly I want to do that. The next thing that I need to be doing is I think I want to, let's work on that dial. Well, let's work on the spindle here first. Now this is going to kind of be hidden from view quite a bit, so I'm not going to be doing a lot with that. I just need to be finding a pretty good basic color, and I think I found something on the web that I liked, and so let me show that to you. Anyways, one of my thoughts with this turntable is turntables at that time were kind of felt looking stuff, and that's pretty much what I want to approximate here, is just kind of a felt look. It's not going to be highly visible. Just a couple times it's actually going to show. So I went on the web to try and find a felt, and I looked through quite a few things and never really could find one. But at Megatex, Megatex NL, I did find some free textures here. And hold on here, here we go. I hit the wrong button here. There's a tremendous amount of leaf textures here, but if I go back to textures, there we go, and I go to fabric textures, I did find, the problem with this site is you just have to kind of go through. They're not well labeled, and the search option is not all that great, so you're just page after page after page. But I did find a texture here. Uh, it was a fleece texture, and I can make that. It's short napped, pretty much exactly what I want. It's got some of these little grainy things in here, but I think I can make this work. So let's go ahead and save picture as, and I'll go to my documents. Here we go. CG Boomer projects, work in progress. Go to day 12 and textures, and I'm going to call this FLEEC fleece and save it. Alright, X'd out of that. I'm going to open up that particular file. Go into textures, and there's my fleece. I'm going to open that up. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a fixed aspect ratio. I'm going to go 1:1. And I'm just going to kind of grab, I don't want this area up here, I'm just going to kind of grab this area right about here. Let me see, that'll work right there. I'm going to scale the image to 1024 in both directions. I'm going to scale it up. There I go. Now that would look just absolutely like crap, but if I were to simply go into my filters and let's blur it a little bit, and I'm going to set both sides to 20 and hit OK, and that will probably suit my needs. That doesn't look too bad at all. Actually, let's blur it to 25. Let me go back to what I had here, and let's go filters, blur, Gaussian blur, and let's jump this up to 25. I think that looks a lot better. And I'm just going to go ahead and file, save as, and I'm just going to change it to say FEL felt color, and save that. I'm going to desaturate it, average value, invert it. I'm going to map it to a normal map as well, and I think I'm going to set the value up to 5. Let's see what that looks like, and yeah, that'll work just fine for me. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and go NOR. And I'll X out of all of that. And the one thing I want to do is go in here, external, and make all paths relative. And clicking that, I'm going to and hit all, and U unwrap, and I'll just go ahead and hit Smart Project. Let's go ahead and see how that looked, and that'll work. As far as I'm concerned, that'll work just fine. Let me go ahead and I'll add a new, and again that's going to have absolutely no shininess to it whatsoever. So I took the specular intensity all the way down and the diffuse intensity all the way up. I'm going to come over here, hit new, image or movie, UV. I'm going to open up day 12, vid files, textures, and grab my felt, open, and let's take a look and see how that looks. And if I just kind of raise all that up quite a bit, let's see. I absolutely you smart project. I'm not particularly ecstatic with it. In fact, I think I really want to find a different texture, so I'm going to pause this here and I'm going to go see if I can find a real felt. Okay, I'm back and I deleted that texture out of the system, and because I absolutely hated it. A lot of times doing these things is a little bit of trial and error. I did find a felt texture. I just went to the web and googled felt and found a felt picture that I kind of liked. So let me go get to it, and I saved it right in here, and there it is. Now you may say green would be an absolutely horrible color, and I would perfectly agree with you, but we're going to fix that. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and do the fixed aspect ratio again and go 1 to 1, and I'm going to cut this, and then I'm going to scale the image. We can go 512 by 512 on this one. It's not a huge area here. And let's go ahead and map it and make it seamless. And then I think what we're going to do is we're going to change the color of it, and we can do that real easily just by desaturating it and going to luminosity. Doesn't look too bad at all. So I am going to, because turntables at that time were always kind of a grayish looking color, and we can kind of change that a little bit, but I think that's going to work out just fine. So I am going to go save as, and this time I'm just going to call it FELT underscore color, even though it's not much color. And I'm going to go ahead and invert it and go ahead and make a normal map out of it as well. And I'm going to bump it up to 5 and hit OK, and that looks pretty good. So I'm going to hit File, Save As, and make it a NOR. Save it. I can X out of all this, and now let's add that for a texture. We'll go New, Image or Movie, and Open. CG Boomer Projects, Work in Progress, and Day 12 vid files, textures, And there's my felt color. Open that up, and that looks a whole lot better. Just a whole lot better. That is just exactly what I wanted. Let me go ahead and change that map to UV coordinates, and that is going to work for me. So let's go ahead and add the NOR as well. First of all, let's call this GR gray. Well, let's just call it felt. FELT dot color, and we'll go new image or movie, map to UV. Make sure we click normal map, open, and work in progress. Get over here to textures and felt NOR, open, and click off color and leave it as a normal, and you can see how that popped it right out. Looks good. I am going to live with that just fine. So I am going to be happy with that. The only thing that I don't like is, of course, this spindle right here. So let me come into here, get over to here. I am going to duplicate this. Well, I'll call this turntable table. I'm going to duplicate it and make it single user, and I'm going to call this spindle, SPIND, spindle, and deselect all of that, and I believe that's all part of the, yeah, it's all part of it. So I'm going to have to just kind of go in here and select what I want to select. So let me just kind of select what I need to select here. All this is going to get in my way, so let me go to object mode. I'm going to take this entire object here, and I'm going to move it to this layer over here, and click out of that. Okay, good. So getting back into here, see, catch all these faces here. I want to get out of, deselect that. Oh, I'm in line mode, I see. Let me go into face mode here, see. And see. Kind of grab all of that. And did I get these faces up here? No, see, I'm missing a face there. So I'll select that. And I think that's going to catch everything that I need. I'm not going to worry about the bottom there. And I am going to assign that selected area. And I'm going to borrow I think I'm going to hit buttons and just turn that to black. Use the button texture on that, and I think that'll work out just fine. Yeah, that'll work. Just borrowed the other texture. And I can now move this all back to this layer over here. Let me grab that layer. Someday. It's running a little slow right now. There we go. And let me turn that widget off, and I'm going to be happy with that. The other thing that I want to do is the stylus here, and I think the stylus, I'm just going to make it a color. So let me add a new material slot, and I'm going to call it STYLU stylus. I already had a stylus color there, so let me just get rid of that. Let me grab stylus, and let's just kind of grab that, and let's just kind of turn it kind of a dark looking gray, and leave it at that. That almost kind of matches the turntable, except it doesn't really have that fabric look to it, which is probably just perfect for me. And in fact, I'll tell you what, let's grab this over here, and instead of using buttons, let's go ahead and grab it, and we'll use stylus as well. I like that much better. So I'm going to be happy with that now. We got everything pretty well done here now, except for the dial face, and I'm still not liking this fabric here. I think I'm going to change the color on it, but let me just kind of leave it alone for a little bit and think about it. I think we just need to kind of work on the dial now. Actually, at this point, I think I'm going to call an end to this portion. We've already used up about 45 minutes, and I've been running about an hour, and I don't really want to do that too often. So I'm going to call it quits at this point. It's going to take almost a full hour to do this dial here, and because there's quite a bit of modeling and stuff that we're going to have to do. So again, this is Hans Eriksson with cgboomer.com, and I want to thank you for listening in. This model and all of the textures at the state of what we've done so far is available on my website at cgboomer.com. Feel free to go ahead and download it and play with it and make any changes that you wish. If you make any changes that are better than what I've done, please let me know. I'm always interested in what other people do, and maybe it's something I can incorporate into my model here. So let me go ahead and go back to default here, and front view, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. And you all have a nice, great day, and thank you for joining me, and happy blending.